If you were just watching Red Dog, my PC just crashed, so that was cool. But hey, it's 8:56, so I don't think we'll return to Red Dog. I'm sure for the archive for this, people care so much, but anyways, I don't think we'll return to Red Dog, unfortunately. But Valkyria Revolution, Yakuza 2 next week. I should say that. Valkyria Revolution is a video game. A video game I like a lot. I want to pull up the Metacritic score for this game real quick. I'm just gonna load up my completed save file here. Oh. Let's see here. Alright. The Metacritic score for Valkyria Revolution. This is great content. I should load the save data. Is a hot 54%. So Metacritic score doesn't really mean that much, honestly.
How far did we get?
I feel like most people feel that way, probably. But I like this guy. I like this game. This is post the game. I've beaten it.
Allow me to continue.
What's kind of interesting, and I just immediately exited out of there, so I should probably go back to it real quick. We'll see. So this whole game is kind of told from the future. So it's like a let me tell you our story. It's the last chance we might have kind of thing. Although it's not like the Final Fantasy X thing, where you know everybody, where it's like, you eventually return back to the main timeline. You kind of go back to the main timeline throughout this game. You end up in this little area here where it's this scholar, or basically these two scholars, who are kind of exploring the history of these 5 specific characters, the Circle of 5. So the menu is kind of this interesting little thing where it's like a bunch of books and stuff, and it actually put a lot of detail into it, which I like. If you open it up, you can go through and just flip to the page, and then so this is just like the glossary here, and it basically gives you some information. That's probably the least interesting book of them all. The history book is more of like the direct chapter names, although I should not look at that because that is a spoiler for the end of the game. Eventually they unlock like so as you go through the game, they actually unlock cutscenes from earlier in the game. So like in the case of this guy in the top right corner there's some things you weren't supposed to know about him at this point in the timeline, really, even though it's listed there in the history book, but shh, don't say anything. So yeah, you get all the cutscenes, and they have like the individual battles here as well. And the entire game's kind of laid across these chapters, and these are, you can just basically go through and you can rewatch cutscenes this way. There's also some like additional dialogue, and as you play through the game, you unlock more and more of these chapters that you go to, and you basically go from piece to piece. It's interesting because like you have this whole history book kind of thing, and it's kind of all over the place in how it tells the story. It tells a lot of like the higher level politics of things, and it also tells like these lower level conflicts between the main character. But the main character honestly is not that important in this game. He's important, but not that important. And then last you have like a the tombstone is is the new game plus. And then last you have like this notebook, and this has like very specific stories to individuals in here that are more like personal stories, hence it being like a notebook, because it's supposed to be like these little personal anecdotes, and as you play as characters you unlock additional cutscenes. It's weird, there's like 2 cutscenes, and I think there's a way characters can permanently die in this game, supposedly. I never was in danger of that happening, but you can only, as far as I know, you can only unlock the 3rd cutscene by having them permanently die, which I've never done. So yeah, but instead of watching some story, we'll go ahead and go here, and this lady just lets you start from wherever you finish in the story. In the case of after you beat the game, it just kind of throws you into like this pre-final battle state. where you can go fight the final boss, essentially the final area. I'm not sure how well this is gonna play. A, because it's been a super long time since I've played this, and then B, I'm also at the end of the game, so I'm kind of already leveled up and everything. So I don't know how challenging any of the battles are really gonna be. One thing I do hear a lot about this game is that it's more of a Muso kind of game, and I don't really agree with that. Muso to me is very much like, oh, you're gonna just sit there and hack and slash your way through tons and tons of units. I'm gonna turn this quest in.
Good work.
Yeah, I got money. I could definitely see where somebody would look at that and look at this game and say, oh yeah, it's a Muso, like very early on. That battle kind of sucks because we're already winning, so it's gonna be very easy to get through it. So let's try one of these. I don't know how hard or easy. No, let's do this one. We're gonna destroy the fortress cannons.
I shall now explain the mission.
This information doesn't really matter much in this game, unlike other Valkyria games where it's like really helpful to know what kind of units are around the map and where they're located. This one, it's not so much, since it's just kind of I feel like you kind of take things on piece by piece in this game rather than having more of like a large scale idea of how you're going to move around the environment. And you can pretty much rush into things in this game. It's not like super punishing. In your squad menu, you can select 4 characters to come with you. There's a shock trooper, which is like the melee type, sapper is like the spellcaster, shield, defensive, and scout. Scout is like a fast character, but I don't really see a lot of use in them a lot of times. But I kept them around just in case. I give them a lot of like elemental skills and stuff is what I ended up doing. And then each character has like a set of skills they can equip, different grenades, different guns. Pretty much all my characters are equipped with the same gun. I like the gun where it's basically like a fear gun. So like every time you shoot somebody, you don't do a lot of damage, but you basically spook them out. Which is a big part of this game. Like, and a big reason why I say to myself that this isn't a Muso game, at least. And I haven't played nearly enough Muso games to say, like, definitively it's not. But out of Dynasty Warriors 4 and Dragon Quest Heroes 2, it doesn't feel that way. I don't recall this map. So we'll see how this goes.
Let's do this.
Okay. A lot of this game is trying to... Okay, looks like we want to evade these lights. All this game is trying to get your favor in terms of like the emotional set of the battle, and then also
Commander down.
And then also in the morale at the top corner there. So I just killed the commander, and so that increased. Wait, how do I do this? Apparently I'm doing something I don't know. Let's see. There we go. Up and down the D-pad. So the sappers can disarm mines, or I could just blow myself up. And then disarming mines also increases your morale as well, just like a very small amount, though. It's like barely a pixel. Anyways, we're gonna leave that be.
This looks easy enough.
So I don't know what level this mission is, so we might just blow through this like nothing, which looks like might be the case, because I immediately killed everything. Oh. But as you can see, there's like a lot of little smaller groups instead, rather than like a big mass of enemies that you're just like wailing through. I wonder if I could hop to an earlier save file where I'm like a lower level, because... Well, we'll see. We might be able to get in like a harder mission here. I think getting spotted lowers your morale. There we go.
Hey, they're not so tough.
There's a lot of repetitiveness to this game. It's a lot of grinding, a lot of the same fights over and over again. So let's see. What kind of damage am I going to do to this guy? Let's see here. If I can stop wailing through them. Yeah. I think I might just be too high a level for this, unfortunately. To really show the game off super well. I came into this not really knowing how it was gonna go, just because I just loaded up my old save file. But hopefully we get something more challenging. But a lot of the times it's like, yes, you can sit there and press X on an enemy and wail through them pretty reliably, but you're usually gonna have to do like 4 or 5 attacks, and in that time a lot can happen in terms of like messing with your morale. So a lot of stuff you're trying to do is like trying to hit as many units as possible at once, trying to stun commanders, trying to kill commanders so they don't actually so they reduce the morale of everyone else. Oh. Alright, I got spotted. So right now I have like an impairment, so that's making me move slower. It's making me have a slower action bar. I take more damage, but of course, because this is a earlier mission in the game, I'm really not taking that much damage. Oh, I feel like this is a bad example of a level to show. And I don't know how far I am from actually doing this. You know what? Let's retreat out of this.
We failed.
Let's see if I can solve this situation. So I'm gonna try to load another save file and see where we're at. Those are really early in the game save files, unfortunately. Yeah.
Is there something you need?
Okay. We're gonna try not to get any spoilers here. We're just gonna go to the last mission. Oh, is that a high level mission there? Let me see that. Those are all level 60. Let's try this. We'll see how this goes.
I shall.
Yes. Skip this event, please. Thank you. But yeah, it's hard to show it off if I'm just like tearing through things. There's definitely times of the games where things are like, you end up in a position where you're disadvantaged and you can't really just like slay your way through things because so much is dealing so much damage to you. You're constantly getting stunned. You're constantly getting compared. And you kind of have to find ways to get yourself out of those pits a lot of the time.
Take this.
I think this is a good way to do this. So you daze them and then you can come in here and you typically can do a good amount of damage to those things. Let's see if I can impair him to get his defense down. And so, yeah, he's not taking a ton of damage. I mean, obviously I could sit here and do this like 5 times over. But A, he's gonna go rage, which means he's gonna ignore all my damage. And then just murder everybody. That turned around real quick. Let me see. How do I rescue? There we go. Okay. Let's see. I don't remember anyone's skills at this point. Healing Squall. Okay. Oh. Now it's just hard to actually talk about the game while I'm trying to concentrate on what's going on. Alright, I need to disable this thing. So you can disable the tanks by shooting them in the legs usually. Not all the time, but... Okay, who's that? Is that Amlet? I don't need to heal Amlet. Where is what's-his-face? Is he... There he is. So he's actually in rage right now, so that means he's doing a lot more damage than usual. So actually want to probably use Jiro there. Just kind of tear through some of this stuff. Okay, he's not raged anymore. Let's see, are there any commanders over here I can get rid of? No, but that's probably a good grenade throw. I don't think anyone here has smoke bombs. That'd probably be useful right now. I'm gonna use Spear Earth. Try to get I think Ophelia might have smoke bombs actually. Yes, she does. So here's another way you can kind of disable a lot of enemies as well as reduce their morale, is just throw a smoke grenade. And a lot of these strategies are kind of the same between all the missions. Let's see, I think this is anti-tank, yeah. Oh, and there's a commander here too. I think this is kind of the overpowered endgame move here, but
Out of my way.
I want to try to clear some of this stuff out before we die.
Out of my way.
So it's like, to me, this doesn't feel like a Musa game in any way. You're like sitting here and doing a lot of very...
Commander down.
So he's in fear right now, so he has low defense. But then somebody's shooting in at us from outside. This guy. I throw a grenade. Good thing about grenades is it also scatters enemies, so it breaks their formation and can confuse them. Commander's dead. Okay.
Commander down. Who's next?
Rest in peace.
There's a guy up here who's shooting at us. And then when you get to the end of the encounter, this is really where the normal attack works best, because everything is already very very vulnerable, because you've already taken out commanders. You've
Who's next?
kind of isolated a bunch of people, and so it's not
Get lost.
nearly as easy for them to fight back, just because they have such low defense, they have such low action times. But at the same time, that also means that kind of applies to you. When things go bad, they typically go really bad, which is kind of a pain. It's like some boss fights where it's like very difficult to recover. Do I have one that's okay? This one's okay. There we go. It can be difficult to recover from a boss fight because if you end up in bad situations. Who's over there? Just a regular guy? Not this guy. Okay. See if I can compare him. There we go.
Who's next?
Okay, he's dead.
Who's next?
Taste my blade.
Out of my way.
Fuse this guy.
Their numbers are rising. Hi, friends.
I have pretty high morale in this fight too, so I have a pretty quick action speed. Sorry, I'm doing a really bad job talking right now. But I feel like this shows that there's like a lot more to this game than just like running around and pressing X. There's gosh. There's definitely the ability to do that, but it just takes a lot longer to get through encounters because you don't alter anyone's stats.
Commander down. Out of my way.
And maybe to some extent, like this guy just gonna take. There we go.
Get lost. What are you looking at?
And then if you like sit there and just melee, you don't really get these morale boosts as easily. Obviously, if you kill a commander or disarm binds or something like that, you're gonna get more. You're gonna get some morale, but being able to like confuse enemies and pair them. Oh shit! I'm too far to the left. The cursor is not particularly great on that. I don't remember it being that bad. With this body shot. Okay, no impairment on that. Let's see if I can just tear through him. Yeah, it's gonna do. There we go.
All right.
Evasive action.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
As far as I can tell, from what I remember, you can pretty much just raise people all you want. I could be misremembering. It's been a while since I've beaten this game. But, okay. Oh, someone's at my base. Dang it. Okay.
Take this. All right.
One thing I'm not really doing is switching between characters much. I probably should do more of that.
Let's end this.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, this guy just...
Cakewalk.
I'm gonna see if I can do something there. There we go. Also, using elemental weaknesses help with your morale.
Guess that's that.
There we go. Okay, somebody is chilling at my base, and I gotta go find out where and why.
Yep, let's go.
Yeah,
Burn them
this
all.
little guy down here running in circles. All right. Hello.
Yeah, in the name of Jalen. Terribly sorry.
Did he come from over there? Huh. I think he might have been stuck behind that wall earlier. I do remember looking at them and thinking,
I'll show you how a real man fights.
Oh wait.
nice.
Rest in peace.
Oh no.
Hey, keep it together.
Go up. And I guess like some of the reasoning behind like why you could pick people up probably pretty easily is because you do take a morale hit when people get knocked down. So typically you don't want them to get hit down.
All right.
Okay. We're still doing pretty alright on morale though.
Get out of my way.
There we go. Stunned.
Take cover.
Spirit's probably fine. Yeah. I forgot to block. Okay, there we go.
To arms.
Yeah, let's do a little.
Pardon me. A glorious victory.
Use the scout a little bit. Each class has like different moves and stuff. Some of them more useful than others. This one's pretty alright, although they're like just out of range of where I want them to be. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. There we go. Oh, they're weak to wind. Okay. That's actually really useful to know. Because Ophelia has a lot of wind attacks.
Rest in peace.
And so that's kind of one problem with this game is like once you do find the weaknesses of enemies, you can pretty easily blow through a lot of this stuff. Admittedly, I'm running very low on MP, so
Shine with glory.
I should probably be more careful about what I'm doing here. Okay. And in order to get MP back, you have to melee people for the most part. Okay, let's do this again. Oh no, they're not considered active yet. Okay, there we go. There we go. Nice. And so maybe that's like one thing that's kind of a little repetitive is just like once you find a weakness and once you find a move that really tears through a lot of enemies, you tend to spam it. Obviously with like that move, that's a pretty high MP cost, so it's not really super. Oh, hello. Oh, okay. Okay. So I don't know if this is going to be a problem. So in these open missions, the Valkyria can come at night, and I think it's tournament time. But we are at the end of the mission here. So we might get out of here before the Valkyria shows up, although something's at my base, so I'm gonna... Let's see if we can get in an encounter with the Valkyria
Rest in peace.
without finishing the mission here. There's something there. I don't think that's the Valkyria though.
This isn't even a challenge.
So a lot of the times, and we might just end up dying here. So here she comes. The Valkyria in this game are very singy-songy. The whole thing is that they have this song that's good and bad. There's good Valkyria songs and bad ones. Her is pretty much just murders you immediately. So we'll see how this is gonna go. I should heal everyone right now, actually. Well, I can.
All right, let's do this.
This is probably a pretty... Okay, something's casting Inferno on me. Where? Okay. There she is. Alright.
I will abide by the contract.
Oh! Ouch! Ouch!
Hey, keep it together. Oh, you what? Not done yet.
I don't know if I've ever fought the Valkyria in like the open missions. There's definitely like story quests where you fight them. She might be more weak here. And oh god, okay. Oh boy, this is going pretty bad. Okay, where is she? Okay. Oh man, and that, see, like, look how slow she's moving because she's in fear right now. Okay.
Look what I can do.
Oh man.
Ka-bang!
That's barely anything.
The end.
Let's heal real quick. Somebody's dead. Okay, she's dead over there. The slowness is actually helping out on this roll because I have invulnerability frames, and it's longer because I... Okay, I need someone to be using ice because she has a what's it called, orb right now. I don't know if anyone here has ice though.
Look what I can do.
Let's see what we do.
Worms.
You ready?
Here I
Okay, we need to get up and heal Daughter immediately. Okay. And I need to go to Ophelia. Okay. Nobody has ice, so nobody's going to be able to abuse her current setup here. Okay, she's walking bullets right now. She seems to block effects from time to time. Ooh. But I can't remember if there's like any logic or reason behind it. Let's see, what's these are all pretty high MP costs. Just gonna throw a grenade on her.
Take this.
So usually I have a character who's like water based that I typically take to the Valkyrie fights.
Ready or not, here I come.
He got killed before I could get to him. Okay. And he is dazed, which is not good.
No one hurts my friends.
So really the smart thing to do would be to go finish the mission right now. I don't have to do this fight. It's probably not really intended to be beaten. It's more of like, hey, get the heck out of here. I'm sure you can beat her. Like, if you look, I have a pretty decent amount of health out of her. But I don't know if I can be able to escape without having people die. So we might have to just take the death.
Take it easy, okay?
Let's see if I can stop her from doing all this garbage. A hot 1 damage per hit. Okay. Okay, what's going on here? Removes enemy's rage and resolve.
You ready?
Afraid.
Let's end
No.
this.
I've definitely had times where I've just sat there and like, she's been vulnerable to bullets, and I'll just sit there and like unload as many as I can into her. Okay. Oh, she's not close enough. I need to. Oh, she's weak to the wind right now.
Back down.
I want to take advantage of that. Definitely.
I'm pooped.
Out of my way.
Oh, dang it. She was dashing.
Ready or not, here I come.
So this is a case where like using Storm Blast is really good because she's weak to it. And so we're just gonna sit here and spam Storm Blast. And this is probably one of the weaker aspects of this game. It's just like once you find the thing that's weak, you typically are gonna do this over and over again. I'm going to do this too. There's also items to recover MP. So like if I do run out of MP with her,
Take it all the way.
then I can just use that item. But as long as she stays weak to the wind right here, and because I have such high morale, I have pretty much the entire morale bar right now. I can just basically lock her in. There's like, as far as I know, there's probably no escaping for her in this situation. And you can really abuse this on most boss fights if you can get the high morale. If you end up on the other side, it becomes a lot more difficult because everything is just slower. Your attacks are weaker, your defense is weaker, and so it definitely goes both ways. She's trying to cast something, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. So I pretty much just tore through her entire health bar doing this, which is ridiculous.
I will abide by the contract.
Okay. And we did it. We beat the Valkyrie. Goodbye. And then we can just go finish the mission now. We could have just gone and finished the mission in the first place, but hey, you know, give you a little look at the Valkyrie battle. That's pretty much how all the Valkyrie battles go. You just kind of like sit there and try to get as much of the weakness in as you can. And then I have no idea where the objective is. Oh, I think there's a flag over here we didn't get. It's a lot of just like spamming elemental stuff on them. I'd say it's probably one of the weaker aspects of this game. The Valkyrie fights in particular, but I think the music's pretty good for the Valkyrie stuff, at the very least. There's also this weird cover mechanic, and I've never found any use for it ever for anything. You can kind of like do this and shoot out of corners, but I don't really see the need for it ever. Okay, so here's where the end of the mission is. We're gonna get Ophelia up here. And this is like a really good way to just break this game, is just throw something like that in, and then go in here with this, run in, do something like this, find where the commander is if there is one. I don't see a commander right now, so I'm just gonna shoot this guy. And Jordan has a bunch of explosives, so we're just gonna explode them all. And so the thing is like a lot of these missions start repeating, these side missions. So unless you're doing story missions, and a lot of times you're like trying to grind to get abilities and magic, you can kind of learn where to maximize your the items and skills you have. So it's like, oh, I'm just gonna use all my grenades right here because at no other point in the story or this battle will I need all these grenades. I think. Oh, there's another set of guys coming up. Okay. Very small set of guys though.
I'll show you how a real man fights.
They're all dazed, and they're all dead. That's it. I don't think I did a very good job explaining this game, but I think this mission was a lot better at showing this stuff. Oh no, there's a tank left. Defeat the next enemy encounter. But because we're so like so stacked up on morale right now, like as long as I have the resources, I can just blow through this guy without any concern.
This isn't even a challenge.
Huh, I wonder why they're all impaired actually. That's interesting. Let's throw a grenade in there. I think a lot of this game is like trying to utilize your resources to the max. Like you want to use all your spells as efficiently as possible. I'm gonna just shoot this through here. And find the best ways to get through the fight as fast as possible frequently. But I'm just like basically sitting here and just seeing where each of these pieces are going to go in terms of like doing the most effective damage. You kind of want to aim at the legs on these guys because if you do that, then you can do that. I'm just going to use an item to recover my my MP here real quick.
You okay?
Because this guy has anti-tank stuff. So. Not close enough.
What do you look like? End this!
Although I might be able to do this. Yeah, let's do this.
What are you looking at? Out of my way!
And I'm not gonna say this game is like perfect or anything like that, but I feel like it has a lot to it. Although I don't know how apparent that is when you're just like watching it. It might look like I'm just spamming skills, and that's definitely a lot of this game is spamming skills. But like I said, it's a lot about like knowing where to use your resources for what and when. And then at the end, if you have a ton of extra resources, then you can do stuff like this and just like mess stuff up. Just like throw 3 rocket launchers at a tank and like, hell yeah. Well, I don't know if I did a good job presenting that game, but I did write an article about it. If you want to go read that article, you should. It's a long article, but it probably does a better job of showing off this game than, or explaining what I like about this game than me trying to like fall over myself months and months after I've beaten it already. It's like 7 months ago was the last time the save file was done, so it's been a while. That's gonna be it for tonight. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. We're not gonna play any more Red Dog, I don't think. I might play it in my own free time. There's things I like about that game a lot, but in situations where I had to grind through that level over and over again just until I beat the water area, and then also that boss fight, that's probably not a game that's great for streaming. At least not long term. So Yakuza 2 will be next week. Have a good night.